I would just simply say Kizungu mingi.
What would be the headline?
A lot of English. Yes, a lot of English. You know why, Chair?
And he used to work with standard.
Even just what Senator Leregwe has mentioned there, on the 1.3 million, 60 entries. 60 entries of 1.3 million. You know, what would I expect the governor to do is not to give us a theory. Just to say, that 1.3 million,
where the 60,
the 60 entries is a classroom, or toilets, or whatever it is. I mean, Chair, I also went to school in the US, and at some point when things get a little muddled up, we will say it is what it is. That's where I'll leave it.
Chair, can I propose
Senator
even as you direct the governor to provide further information, we must be specific. I think that is what Senator Wambua said. So that when you say access roads, is it in Wajir North, Wajir South, is it in Wajir Town or Eldas? And also, I've seen one interesting medical insurance of 322 million.1. What it attached to? Which are these companies? Was it for the staff? Chair, the issue of gifts, food and drinks of 6.5 million to some grand oases. The entries, 6.5 million on food and drinks and gifts.
No, I think, Chair, that's not in the list of the 1.3. That's not in the list of the 1.3.
Order, Governor, you might want to ask what is reading before you dismiss.
Yeah.
This is the schedule you just provided. Governor, are you running away from your documents again? Are you running away?
Is that 1.3?
So that we know how to deal with it.
That is a schedule that was provided to the auditor
that was even
and circulated.
By the auditor.
Okay, I'm just confirming.
Yes.
Go ahead, Senator, go ahead.
I can confirm that it is the same on this opposition phone. The same as the one.
But your phone looks cheap. So
Can we try Mwaruma's phone?
Let's try
to see whether the results will be the same.
That's a techno.
But Chair, there's a question the governor
That's a
didn't
techno
answer.
one.
Yeah.
There's a question the governor didn't answer.
Yes, Senator's phone.
On that same schedule. Now he wants to run away from his schedule, but Governor, you needed to answer whether on that schedule you provided, I can tell which date that amount was incurred. Is there a column that refers to any time?
Senator, there's through the chair, there's a column for the financial year.
Where is that?
It says...
Which column is that?
It doesn't refer. It's just about payment date.
It's his document. You know, if you read yours, he will run away from it. Let him read his own document.
And there is a date that there's a column that says payment date.
Yes, that is the only one that has dates, Governor.
Payment date.
Yes.
So those are actual settlements.
Yeah.
Not liabilities.
So how do you know, Governor, that this is a historical thing because you said you started in 2022? If you just went with that first one there, advertising, awareness and publicity campaigns, it says 2024, 2025. Is that when it was incurred?
You know, the dot shown here is the payment date because, I mean, is the date in which it was incurred, not the payment date. But
so, Governor, you agree with me then that this is not historical date?
Actually,
these are largely historical.
This is a payments list. That's why I asked the question whether this is a list of invoices paid or payable. But it appears they are paid because there's a payment date, the 1.3.
You know, Chair, at the time of the audit, it was payable, but now it's been paid. You know, so, because the audit itself happened. So, we're talking of 2024.
So the 1.3 billion, the 1.3 billion that was exhumed has been paid fully.
Partly paid.
But this schedule totals to 1.3.
Yes, partly paid, because every year we provide an amount for pending bills and then tick off from this list. So we can reconcile to say what has been paid and what's not.
Just Governor, for clarity.
Again, Judge,
for clarity.
Again, just 1 minute, because on that point.
As of today, partly paid.
If it is partly paid, then again, Governor, the easiest thing would have been for you to tell us, these are already paid and these are not paid.
But my question has not been answered.
Right.
You have provided me a document that cannot help me understand that process that you spoke about. I should be able to know that that first item there, instead of telling me you've paid it or when you paid it, when was it incurred is more important in the conversation we were having, because you say these things are historical. And Governor, you know, you are a CPA, I'm a lawyer. The word historical should mean the same to both of us. Yeah, so the documents that you should provide is to show us, for instance, you talked about classrooms that had been built that have not been paid for. You should say, this classroom at this place was built in 2019 and it has never been paid for. We are paying for it in 2022, 2023. That's what I expect from a CPA.
Senator, I hear you and I agree. We provided this to the auditors and all this was provided. But, Chair, I am okay to go back to this and give further data on when incurred, whether paid, whether not paid, and
the process.
And the process.
And the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we will not be unfair if we reach the conclusion that these are manufactured in the absence of clarity on the process.
Chair, to me, this schedule says the wording there, payment date. To me, this 1.3 billion has been paid as per this schedule, unless the governor would want to withdraw this document. Because it says payment date. So the English I know is that, the English of I know of a lawyer, of a church elder, or a bishop like my brother here, is payment date has been 1.3 billion. So, Governor, are you withdrawing your own document to get us a better document? Because you have now introduced another angle, it is partly paid. Because we don't want to imagine that this was a payment, error, the payment of error. Because looking at most of these issues, there is no specificity. Somebody who from Wajir, wherever they come from, Wajir North or South, or even Wajir County, if I tell them, county has paid money for access roads to this amount, where do they attach? Because I'm happy you said you did a social audit. You send people on the ground. So when you say access roads, which road from point A to B that was done with how much, how many kilometers, all those, Chair, if they are missing, I might want to associate yourself on the issue of either manufacturing or cooking, whichever you want to go home with.
No, Senator Cherge, you are doing very well until you get there.
Order, Governor.
You are not.
Governor, order.
You are not in charge of this meeting.
Order. We were doing very well until Governor took the microphone.
Correct.
So
And my advice, he should switch off his microphone. It is safer not to talk.
Okay. Members, we have done very well so far, so let's not lose it. I think let's round up this matter so that we are clear on what we expect from the governor, and then we can deal with other issues. Senator Lelegwe.
Chair, I disagree with the governor's response in my query when I asked him about the 1.399 million figure. You said it is a classroom, and when you build a classroom in Wajir, there is a possibility that you will have the same figure. But now, if you see the list of those people that have been paid, or the companies that have been paid, are 60 different companies. So how can 60 different people quote the same figure, 1,399,400, 60 times?
And again, to add on that, the cost of doing a classroom, the farthest end of Wajir cannot be the same cost of doing a classroom in Wajir town.
You see, members, we are querying this schedule and giving the impression or assumption that the process was okay. If the process was not proper, then even the discussion on the contents of that list stands on very shaky ground. So we must first establish that process.
Yeah. To help answer Senator Lelegwe's question, Senator Lelegwe, first of all, you have to appreciate that these were awarded by the previous regime. So if they decided they are going to award every classroom for 1.399, regardless of where it is. But for me, I have decided to pay the classroom because it's verifiable. I just have to live with that. And it was not unusual for them to use one number for all dispensaries, one number for all classrooms. And there are places where we even questioned and said, yeah, this thing is physically verifiable, but the amount being quoted does not really make sense. So the ones that we thought the cost was reasonable in light of the scenario we were facing are the ones that we decided to include in what is payable. So it was usual in that regime to say 10 dispensaries, each at 3.8. As you say, the procurement process, if done objectively, should have had certain differences. But here you are. You have the classroom, you are seeing it. And by the way, in certain cases, Senator, for you to understand this, there are cases where the public have threatened to close the classroom. There are others where they've gone to court and the court asked us to pay. And this is why I want to improve that list with a lot more details, not to disown it, as Senator says, but provide more details as to those things. Yeah.
Okay, Senator Sifuna, hopefully you are giving us a way forward.
Before we depart from that note 17, I'm just wondering if there's another audit query there. But Governor, what is that item number 2 there? Or under use of good? Yeah. Yeah, what is that? At note 17 of the financials.
That ought to be property, plant and equipment.
No, I think I want him to tell us, Chair.
Yeah,
because
Governor?
you know we have discovered that words mean differently to different people.
Yeah, Governor? Actually, why can it be? What was that thing used during COVID?
That's why I want him to be the one to say it, Chair.
Yeah, so I withdraw my definition. Let's get the Governor's definition of that PPE.
Note 17.
Governor, you are the CEO and you had the notes before you. I just want to know what it means. The financials. Or the financials. Oh. It's on page 26, officer. There's an item there for 2,179,000,000. Yes. What is that second item on the column there? It's page 26, note number 17.
Nobody knows what this is.
So I think that PPE, Senator, is property, plant and equipment. So it's 2.179 billion.
How is it wasn't in the previous statement? Previous year's financials.
This is the first year of a whole account. Previously we were cash.
Just use the mic, please.
And Senator, because in the previous year, there was a need to put this in the financials in that sense because we were on cash basis accounting.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's not the answer, Governor. That figure is part of the 1.3 that the auditor is querying. That was not there in prior year. So
that is why
the explanation is only half of it.
I thought that they could be related, those two.
Auditor General?
Thank you, Chair. The reporting template for the 2024-2025 and allowed the first-time adopters of the accrual to take some advantage. But they
Auditor, go straight to the issue.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
the 2.17 billion that Senator Sifuna is saying was zero prior year.
So there
Is it part of the 1.3 that you're saying was not
it is not.
disclosed?
It is not.
Okay, so where is it coming from?
It is not for the I think for the bring the
Chair,
And auditor, remember you are not the preparer of this financial statement, so you can just comment on
I wanted to
matters of
assist
standards,
I wanted to assist
rather than the completeness of numbers.
Chair, the 1.3 actually, because that note on payables is everything, whether historical or recurrent. So the 1.3 is indeed part of that.
Yeah, so auditor, I think let's leave it there because we'll start contradicting ourselves. So it's part of that 1.3 that the auditor said was not disclosed. And Senator Sifuna, you asked whether there were other audit queries on that note. Indeed, there is one. Let's go straight to it. Then we will give general recommendations on trade payables and remitted statutory and employee benefit deductions.
Chair, maybe with your indulgence, you didn't give direction on 1.3 billion.
No,
because,
since it's all part of note 17,
yes,
we look at the statutory deductions.
Then you rule on the same.
Then we give a global advice. Auditor General, you could read your finding on pension, statutory and employees benefits deductions, a figure of 732 million, which is included in note 17. It's under the report on lawfulness, and in the original certificate, it's issue number 6, unremitted statutory and employee benefit deductions. And if you go back to note 17, you'll see the social security benefits and employee payables.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Unremitted statutory and employees benefits deductions. The statement of financial position reflects trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 3 billion. 586,633,121, and as disclosed in note 17 to the financial statement, including the balance is an amount of Kenya shillings 732,615,329 in respect of unremitted statutory deductions to the National Social Security Fund and employees' contribution to local authorities, pension trusts, and local authorities' provident fund, some dating back to 2014-2015 financial year as detailed below. So you have the table there. This is contrary to section 19.
Harry, it's important just to read the components and the amounts. Okay. It's not too long.
Okay, you have the component and the amount. First, the component is basic salary, civil service. This is, I think it belongs to SACCOs of 75,778,665. Then you have employer contribution to staff pension scheme of 535,904,297. Then we have employer contributions to National Social Security Fund of 7,650,480. Then we have graduate civil servants, 113,281,987. Thank you, Chair. This was contrary to section 19, subsection 4 of Parliamentary Act Cap 226, which states that an employer who deducts an amount from an employee's remuneration shall pay the amount so deducted in accordance with the term period and other requirements specified in the law, agreement, court order, or arbitration as the case may be. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, the county government.
Just because we have jumped a few issues, just point us to the page where you're reading your response from.
Page 23. 24.
Page 23.
24.
24 or 23? Okay, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Different pages. Mr. Chairman, the county government encountered disagreements with the pension schemes regarding interest and penalties.
Sorry, Governor. That's page 25.
Yeah.
Page 25.
Yeah, it says 24 on mine, but
25.
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
The county government encountered disagreements with the pension schemes regarding interest and penalties, where the penalties were multiple times higher than the principal amounts. The county continues to engage with the relevant authorities to resolve this dispute in a fair and compliant manner. Steps taken, the county government has already cleared as part of the statutory liabilities, Kenya shillings 109,167,057 due to KRA, and also 7.6 million for NSF contributions will be paid in the next month. Chair, let me explain this a bit.
Yeah, because I want us to deal with this matter comprehensively, beyond your written response.
Yes, Chair, all this first of all relates to the period 18 to 2022.
Even though the auditor says from 2014, 2015, when you are the first governor of Wajir.
If there's any amount relating to that, I want it to
just proceed. Just proceed. Yeah.
This these payables relate to 25 months of pensions and gratuities not paid under the period 18 to 22. And it's with LAP Trust and LAP Fund. Now, what both schemes did, and it's part of the disagreement we had, they waited to just before the elections to go to court. They allowed the previous regime to get away with it, and just went to court just before. And so by the time we came in, the matter was in court. We agreed on a few things. We agreed, number one, that we will pay our current stat reductions on time. And they can confirm, we can confirm here through the auditors to Senate that we're up to date with respect to the current period. As for the previous period, we have been trying to agree on an out-of-court settlement because these are just the principal sums. When you add the penalties and interests, the figures being asked for are actually double, if not more, than this figure. And given also that we have a huge pending bill to the public, it's become a bit hard to create space in our budget to deal with this at one time. Chair, I'm hoping we've advanced quite a lot with CPF, that we'll have an agreement with them in the next 2 weeks, which includes some waiver of some of the penalties. So that then, even as we speak now, I think we have about 70 million shillings that we budgeted for this year to reduce this amount before 30th of June. And then next year we'll provide a bit more. But Chair, to contextualize this, all this money was actually released by the controller of budget, and it was deducted from the employees, but never remitted. I do understand that government is in perpetuity, but the financial architecture of counties is such that money is released monthly. So when the money released in a given month is not appropriated for what it was released for, then it constitutes a crisis on the system. When it's not done for 24 months, for 25 months, then it creates a hole. And this is why we've had discussions with Treasury at CS level, together with the pension schemes, because it's not a problem only for us. And I keep reminding even governors as COG chair that this should be happening on our watch now, if there's any governor that's doing this on our watch now. To deal with this historical, because it might not be possible to absorb this in one fiscal, to come with an arrangement where Treasury gives some bonds, for instance, to these pension schemes, especially the ones that can't, for instance, give assets. Nairobi might be able to give land, for instance, which is valuable. Mombasa might be able to give land. And then that is amortized over time from the equitable share. Because it's impossible for me to pay $1.5 billion or $1.6 billion in statutory payables only within my term. Because I'm already struggling with my payroll costs. We're opening up new hospitals. We're recruiting new people. The increase in equitable share, you understand what it is. So especially for counties that do not generate a lot of on-source revenue, once a hole like this is created, there's a problem. And so, Chair, I am ready for any advice on this, but this is my situation with respect to historical.
Yeah, I think the reason why I've given you time is that this is a conversation we have had, I think we have had it in a formal sitting, and we have also had it informally. And we have agreed that there needs to be very special focus on this matter. Because if the control of budget, and Gachagua, you'll advise us, had already approved that expenditure, and the money was released, will you approve it again?
No, it can't be approved.
So where will the money come from? That's a crisis now.
Chair, you know, the challenge I have with that argument is, then that argument can also be applied to my other physical pending bills, because all those were released by the controller, but just applied in other ways. So I have a classroom belt, someone given an LSO, kids in the classroom, money already released, but that person not paid, and I didn't inherit money.
Chair.
Okay.
So let me ask this question again.
Senator Maruma, then Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Chair. Are you saying that for the existing pending bills, there are projects whose money were released by the control of budget, but that money was voided and paid for other things? Is that what you're saying, number one? Number two, we need to know, maybe exactly, especially for example, employer contribution to staff pensions scheme, 535,904,297. This is principal plus interest. What is the principal? Is it possible to get that information? What is the principal? Number three, Chair, these are employees, whether they are working between 17 and 22, when you're not governor, their money was released. When they retire, when they go for their pensions, they need their pensions. They will not understand that they were not working, or their money was released but not released to the pension scheme. So are you saying that there's nothing you can do? And if this money was paid for something different, what steps have you done to make sure that those who did that are brought to book? Because we run governments in perpetuity.
Okay, good one. Those three, please take note. Senator Sifuna.
I think, Chair, for me, the problem is the time that it has taken to have these conversations. Governor, you are in your final year of your term. And we have your colleagues who have come here and sat there. They are very junior members of the COG, let alone chairman. But they concluded agreements with CPF years ago, where they waived the penalties and some of the interest, and they agreed on a payment schedule where they're paying monthly or annually. So my disappointment in you, especially as the chair of COG, is that you have people within the COG who have done these agreements, and I believe that conversation is the same. And maybe these are the issues that the COG should take leadership on, not these other things that we see you giving directions to governors. So for me, Governor Mutula was here, and he had a document they have signed, and it says it should be a template for all the 47 counties. The stories you have told us, unfortunately, are unsupported. And Governor, you have referred us back to that contentious document of yours. My concern is this: you have 113 million in unpaid gratuity for your public servants, and this is a problem for us in the Senate, because people who left the service may be retired. They have no time for these stories, especially if I was to share this schedule with them and see how much this hotel called the Grand Oasis. What is it, the name?
Grand Oasis.
Yes. Have you gone back to that schedule?
Yeah, Chair, it is a question of priorities.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people who do not prioritize Mwananchi. If somebody has retired and they are due gratuity, really those are the people who you should prioritize, and not catering services, accommodation, gifts, food and drinks from that schedule that I was referencing, which is almost 6 million shillings in tea and mandazi. And you have people who have retired there. They have nothing to eat. So, Governor, it's also a question of priorities. I don't know why you have prioritized KRA, because they can freeze your accounts. I suspect that's the reason. But these ones looking for their gratuity, Where can they find you, Governor?
And you see,
Okay.
the governor is confessing that the accounts were frozen, and he's to prioritize them. Now, these are the guys who have nothing against you. What they have no leverage. I mean,
Fine. I believe this is a matter that is important not just for Wajir. So we'll do specific cases, but also try to look for a global solution.
Chair,
Senator
I've seen
Charity.
Annex 6. Governor, what did you want to prove with this Annex 6? Because I can see there was a principal amount of 47 million, then there was total accrued interest of 10 million. That was on 10 June 2025. I think it is a payment of 458 million, 137,709.7. That is Annex 6. So is it when the OAG queried about 732 million, 615,329 shillings, is this part of it or it is different? Is 458 trying to offset the 732, or what is the place of this Annex 6 that you are trying to tell us you have paid with the issue of love fund? Can we get that distinction, or you are just and to emphasize, secondly, finally, Chair, is that I thought this issue of statutory deductions, be it KRA, I think, Chair, we had a conversation where we were arguing that if there is late exchequer releases, they should not be penalized by KRA. And I don't know, as the COG Chair, you have had conversation with KRA saying that since there are late exchequer releases, then counties should not and must not be punished over KRA tax penalties. I don't know, as governors, as a governor of Wajir, have you, or as a COG, have ever sat and agree, because it is unfair that counties get late exchequer releases, then they are penalized KRA. So I think, Chair, Governor, if that one has not been on COG agenda, you can put it next time over our names. I think that would be better. I yield back, Chair.
Okay. And Governor, as you respond, I think there's been some conversation that payroll processing, and particularly statutory deductions, be done at the national level. I think there's some conversation about that. And as a Senate, we are concerned that the minute you hand over your payroll to the national government, you have handed over the counties back. But it was for situations like this, where approvals are granted, money is deducted but not remitted. You might also want to comment on that, but start with the issues raised by Senator Mwaruma.
Senator Mwaruma, the 732 is the principal sum. It doesn't include interest and penalties. So whether for gratuity or the 7.6 for NSSF, and that one we I think is being paid now, and this is all for basic, what do you call, principal sums. Number one. Number two.
Sorry, Governor, is that a fact? Because you've got Appendix 6 here, where the principal is far much lower. So do we take that the 732 is principal without interest?
Appendix what?
This one, this figure is for only this general, all of them. This annexes is only for love fund.
And
so the 732 is principal without interest?
For everyone, both love fund and
without interest.
Without interest.
Okay.
And that's where I'm headed, because Senator Cherge asked, what am I trying to prove with that schedule, which has the 47 million and the 410. Senator, it's part of the negotiations we're having, which we can't seem to agree on, because the principal sum, for instance, for lab fund was 47 million, but the interest they were asking for is 410 million. And this matter went to court, and we're in court, and we're saying, for us to be able to prioritize the principal sum, because this was something that was mismanaged, and they also didn't do their part to follow and seek for payments or court process on time, we can't be able to find that money all at one go. That's the point I was trying to make.
Governor, Governor,
can I just finish?
No, on that point before you get out of it, because it's a conversation we have had. LAP fund is right to demand an interest, because that interest is a return on investment on the pensioners. Yeah. So it looks very big, very awkward, but the pensioners also expecting a return on investment on their contributions. So you argue against it, then you're arguing against the benefits of your staff. That's a point I wanted to make.
It's a catch-22, Chair, because this money, the controller also has just said that is not going to approve. And by the way, there are even instances where someone was very ill or something and we tried to pay and the controller said, no, this was released before, I'm not releasing this money again. So that's where we are, and this is why we're trying to, probably with Senate's help, because there are counties that can absorb big amounts like this. There are others where it will distort everything. And if everything worked from audit to, the system and everything, at that time would be in this situation. I don't want to go there, but this is the reality. What have you done? We agreed, first of all, that we pay on time. We are among the best payers as of today. As for this other matter, we are still negotiating. As I said, even this fiscal year, we have some little money, but we have not reached an agreement on the way forward. We are also engaging on the question of Treasury being able to pay them upfront and try to see if that can be amortized over equitable share for a longer period. So I think I have answered, unless there's a particular question that... so as to the question Senator Sifuna asked, maybe their negotiations were easier. I don't know what their numbers were and for how long, because in my case, we've dug a hole for 25 months. Yeah, so probably if it was less, it's easier to deal with. And probably also they don't have these other huge pending bills on assets verifiable and in use. But I think the contention of the controller, that the controller is not going to release it twice, shouldn't really be there, because they are asking us to pay for the physical assets, and even that was also released and misapplied. So
I think where there was a release, there should not be a further approval.
Governor, can you clarify to me if there's ever been an engagement at COG level with the Love Fund?
Yes, we continue to engage. And even I think at the beginning of this month, we have another engagement, I think around the 29th with the Love Fund. We've just had an engagement with CPF where we met in Kwale, discussing this among other things. There are also issues on their side, Chair, which I shouldn't bring, extraneous issues which I shouldn't bring here. Much as the interest they're asking is high, in this country also there's no law on minimum return to employees. So sometimes also, even in the fund's investment, what the employee gets is very small, much smaller than even the penalty interest. So
because of unremitted contributions, because you only invest what you have.
Yeah, you cannot fault the employees themselves, governors.
Because not the employees. I'm saying the schemes,
the funds,
the funds in other countries also.
Yeah.
So I think, Chair, on this one, I mean, much as I'm in this situation, I am a believer that you cannot deduct somebody's money and not remit it.
Yeah, you know the question that I asked.
Governor, actually that is criminal. If you ask me, it's actually criminal.
Not really been answered.
Oh, no, I mean it's theft. You're stealing from. You're actually stealing from yourself and stealing from the employees.
Senator, the question I asked the governor required some empathy, because if you don't put yourself in the shoes of those people who have retired, you will not prioritize the payment of this money, of gratuity. Some people retire when they are rich. Some retire when they are extremely poor. An ECD teacher retiring, going home, and being told that your money was not remitted, and you know the man has retired and has some kids in college or even in school who require also assistance. Now, if you say that money was remitted, was not remitted but deducted and not remitted, so there's nothing you can do, you're not being empathetic enough.
And in fact, Chair, this is why I was pushing the question of time. Governor, we have all been in these offices now for 4 years. Yeah, I am very happy, by the way. I'm proud of this committee. I told you when we started, Chair. We resolved the question of penalties for KRA for you. Correct. Because whereas you run around, some of you saying that devolution is working, that the national government has done better than previous administrations, you're up to date with the remittances. It is not true. In private, you come and cry to us that, oh, we are behind 3 months, 2 months remittance. And when we had that conversation...
I don't know that you've paid May salaries. Have you paid May salaries?
He has said himself we are behind 2 months.
Yes.
His salaries, yes.
May. You have
Yes.
paid May.
Yes.
You have received your disbursements for May.
Not yet, but I've paid.
Okay.
you see,
Senator Sifuna.
Regardless of whether receipts are received or not, I have I pay somewhat my salaries on time,
So
including the statutory reduction.
So my point was, those people who are watching us at home, who Senator Mwaruma has described, Governor, in this city, I don't know about Wajir, in this city, if you are unable to pay your rent, they come and lock the door. So you imagine, just 1 month's rent, they remove the mabati from the house and you have to go. Now, you are telling these pensioners that it's an ongoing conversation. 4 years into our term, we're actually going into elections. We've actually started campaigns. I personally have started campaigns. So, what assurance can we give?
Point of order, Elections Act is very clear on campaign period. So, Senator Sifuna, you might be careful.
Yeah, come and arrest
because
me.
you normally argue.
You know where to find him.
You know where to find me.
Okay, there's no problem.
I've already announced my next rally. You can send them there.
Okay.
But Governor, the point I was making is this, that empathy that he spoke about requires that we expedite these processes. If these other pensions have been able to find agreements with some of your colleagues in the council, just get one meeting and agree with these people. What is the way forward? Withdraw those matters from, because the people are suffering, and that was the point.
Actually, on that bit of empathy, Governor, when you left office in 2017, were you and the team you exited with paid your gratuities?
100%.
100%.
Yes. In fact, I needed it. I went and collected my gratuity.
In 2023, the last elections were 2023. 2022, when you returned to office, was the governor and those who were in office in that period, have they been paid their gratuities?
Not yet. And actually,
why?
And tried to pay, and the controller did not approve, because some of them, I don't want to say who, it's, were in pretty bad situation. And out of empathy, I tried to pay, and the controller said, no, you can't. And Senator Marua, I am the one who's actually arguing.
Maruma, so what would be the challenge? Because you were paid promptly.
Somebody's right. Why would the governor be using empathy to
that
pay?
response is also very suspicious. It's like, I decided, then I said, no, we're not.
No, if he was paid promptly.
Chair,
no, we requested, the request is not approved.
Chair,
because for gratuity,
statutory deductions or employees' issues or statutory deductions are somebody's right. It doesn't depend on empathy. So why is the governor saying empathy? And we know very well he didn't leave office. He went for election petition in 2022. So what does he mean? And yet the previous administration paid him on time, but he doesn't want to pay. So the question is, what is the reasoning behind it?
Let me clarify that.
Yes, Governor.
Let me clarify. First, it's not the previous administration that paid me on time.
You paid yourself.
No. Please just let me explain.
Yeah, please explain.
Because both our pensions and our gratuity were with the fund administrators in my time. I made sure that I remitted the funds to the fund administrators. I did not have to talk to my successor to get my money. I walked over to CPF and I collected my money because I had been